Well, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for attending as we mark April as National Donate Life Month. As most of you know, the Secretary of State's office oversees the organ and tissue donor registry in Illinois, which has saved so many lives. Illinois has one of the largest registries in the nation, with more than 7.5 million donors. It is consistently ranked in the top 5 in the United States, among states with the most registrants, with more than 71% of all eligible Illinoisans having signed up. We should be very proud of that. That has translated to about 2,000 transplants performed every single year. In fact, it's likely that you know someone who has received a transplant, whether it's a heart, a liver, a kidney, or even a cornea. But we need and we must do better. About 300 Illinoisans die each year waiting for a transplant. And approximately 4,000 people remain on the waiting list at any given time. The kidney is the most in-demand organ, with more than 90,000 people across the country waiting for one, followed by the liver, heart, and lungs. In addition, tissue donation, which is not talked about enough, is vital to restoration, as skin can heal burn victims and corneas can give the gift of sight. A single donor can save or improve the lives of up to 25 people. Major religions support organ and tissue donation, and everyone from teenagers to seniors are able to share the gift of life by signing up as donors. We are launching a public awareness campaign focusing on the critical need for organ donors and to encourage people to register, especially in communities of color where the need for some organs is the greatest, but registration rates are among the lowest. To give you an example, in the African American community, which has the greatest need for organ transplants, specifically kidneys, hearts, and lungs, that community makes up 19% of all donors. So our goal is to help all those who are in desperate need of a life-saving organ. And we found that the more people know about organ donation, its benefits, and the impact that it has on truly saving lives, the more likely they will to become donors. Our PSA, which began airing statewide last week, features real people who have received organs as well as donor families. Television, radio, digital display, and social media ads are running in English and Spanish statewide throughout the state. The ads are also being shown in movie theaters, and we're distributing educational materials across the state. In addition, I'm excited that our office is now streamlining and automating the registration process and increasing registration locations to expand the donor network. I'd like to introduce Connie Boatman, who's the director of our Life Goes On program, who's here today, I think. Connie, are you here?
I'm right behind.
Oh, hi, Connie. That promotes the organ tissue donor registry through outreach, education, and registration drives. She and I will take your questions in a little bit. I'm also honored to share the stage today with some recipients who have received the gift of life, along with donor families whose loved ones have selflessly donated to save lives. In addition, elected officials like State Representative Giannoulias Syed and Matheson Mayor Sheila Chalmers-Curran are helping us reach out to communities across our state to spread the word on the importance of the program. Representative Syed is not only an elected official, but a living donor who donated a part of her liver in 2021. Representative, would you like to say a few words?
Of course. It is, hello, my name is Giannoulias Syed. I am the state representative for the 51st House District, which covers the northwest suburbs. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here among organ donors, among recipients, among the family members of organ recipients. And it was nearly 2 years ago where I was mindlessly scrolling on Twitter and I saw that a community member needed a liver. And it was nearly 2 years ago that I realized that you could donate a liver and it could actually regenerate. And it was nearly a year and a half ago where I went in for surgery at Northwestern Hospital and I donated a significant portion of my liver to help save a life. I remember in the days before the surgery when I was trying to figure out what my options were for paid time off, what my options were to take the time I needed to recover and rest from my surgery, I realized I didn't have too many options that worked for my unique case of donating an organ, which is why I'm very proud to have worked with the Secretary of State's office and our fellow legislators down in Springfield on HB 3516, which gives 10 days of paid sick leave to some organ donors and up to 5 days paid sick leave for bone marrow donors. This kind of legislation is life-saving. This kind of legislation reduces barriers to folks that would like to donate an organ or would like to donate bone marrow. This kind of legislation tells our members of our state that we see your sacrifice and we want to help support you in making this sacrifice. So thank you to all of those that are out there that are organ donors. It is a gift. It is a huge sacrifice. We see you and our state appreciates you. Thank you, and thank you to Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias for promoting this incredible cause. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Representative, for your inspirational story. Thank you for your leadership in Springfield. When I was elected in November, Mayor Chalmers Kern played a key role as a member of our transition team on organ and tissue donation. She is also a very close friend, and she has a personal story to share with us as well. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so very much for having this opportunity to talk with you today. Signing up for organ donorship is of the most importance. It means so much to make a difference in the lives of others. I understand personally what it's like for families that are impacted and the need for an organ. My son suffered with kidney disease and needed to have a kidney. When you have families that are impacted, they suffer too. But we can make a difference and we can change that narrative by wanting and signing up to be organ donors. I'm here today to talk about the idea that I no longer have my son, but there's so many others that could be saved if we make the difference. That is my statement to you, that if you want to make a difference in the lives of others and to improve the lives of others, please commit to making this difference by being an organ donor. Thank you to all that are here today, and thank you for giving this opportunity to just hear my brief story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The most meaningful aspect of the organ donor program are the people who are impacted by it, from the recipients to the donor families. They are the ones who show us how organ and tissue donation can truly save and improve lives. For example, Rocio Huerta is a kidney recipient from Chicago. She was diagnosed with a kidney disease, and after almost 4 years, she received a kidney transplant on Christmas Day in 2019. She is here today, along with her husband, Gerardo. You guys like to come up?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and thank you for all being here. I'd like to start saying thank you very much all that people who is interested in signing in for living donor. Like you see us now, we have a life like a normal family member of 5. One day she is diagnosed with kidney disease. Nobody believes that, and everybody said we got shocked. My 3 kids and me, we are fighting and learning how to help her to feel better. And began to start a lot of issues with her health. She had 7 major surgeries, and one of them was open heart surgery before the transplant, another surgery for no well done fistula in her groin, and almost she lost her bottle. After the last surgery, her heart stopped for 10 minutes, and now she's here fighting along with us. And everything, I gotta say thank you to all those people who signed up for organ donation. He thanks for this little girl who is an angel, who saved my wife's life, and now she is celebrating with us every single Christmas and every single New Year. Thank you so much for having us, and I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, in 2021, 996 kidney transplant was for Latino community, and the only 66 was from living donor. We need to increase those numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Sign up for Donor Life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias. What an inspirational story. Thank you for your message. Next, we have Katie McKay Phillips, the sister of an organ donor from McHenry, Illinois. Her brother Andrew, a college football player, donated his organs after passing away at age 22. Katie?
Thank you for having me. My name is Katie McKay Phillips, and I have a little bit of a different story than a lot of everybody else here. But in June of 2009, I got a phone call that my brother had been in an accident and was in a hospital bed at Good Shepherd in Barrington, where he had jumped into a pool and broken 2 vertebrae in his neck. And they were unable to repair that, and due to that, he became brain dead. So we were in a little bit of a different situation in that we got to see a little bit of the process of them placing his organs. So when we were approached by Gift of Hope to be to see if my brother wanted to be an organ donor, it was the easiest decision that we had ever made. It was the only easy decision that we could make at that time. My mom likes to tell the story that when my brother was getting his driver's license, they were leaving the DMV, and he said to her as they were walking out, you know, Mom, I registered as an organ donor. And he wasn't really telling her as much as asking her if that was okay. And my mom says, of course, if that's what you want, that's absolutely fine. And so when this became our life, when this became our choice, it was the easiest decision to make for our family. My brother was 22 years old when he was in his accident. He was 6'4", big, huge football player, and he was super healthy. My dad said at the time, he's like, who wouldn't want a 22-year-old football player's heart? We were really fortunate to be able to hear some of the stories about some of the recipients where, again, my brother's size, they kept having to go further and further in the donation location area because he was, you know, too big or the heart didn't fit or whatever. So it was kind of interesting to see that, and he was able to help a gentleman who had been waiting for a very long time. Lung transplants are one of the most difficult things to transplant, and a double lung transplant is doubly difficult, and they were able to place his lungs with a gentleman who had been waiting for a very, very long time. So I like to tell people when I tell my brother's story that the only thing that makes it easy is that he registered and that we had talked to him about it. So the most important thing you can do is, first of all, register, and then second of all, talk to your loved ones about your decision, and talk to your loved ones about what they would want if it was them. Because you never think it's going to be your family until it's your family. And having made that decision ahead of time makes it a million times easier when you're having to deal with all the other things that go in with having you know, a sudden death. So I just tell everybody, register and talk to your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Can we see a photo of your brother?
This is my brother.
Thank you, and thank you to your family.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Kim Gosell, a 3-time kidney recipient from Palatine. Kim received 3 kidney transplants, one of which was donated by her husband. Currently, she's on the waiting list because her most recent transplant is failing. Kim works as an organ transplant coordinator for UIC. Kim? Come on.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kimberly Gosell. I am a 3-time living kidney donor transplant recipient. I was diagnosed in 2000 with lupus nephritis, which attacks your inner organs. I have a history of that in my family. My mother also received a kidney transplant from my uncle. So we are a legacy family, if you might call that. After my lupus attacked my kidney, I received my first transplant in 2008 from my cousin. We lived really well together for a while, and then in 2011 it started failing, and I had to start dialysis. I was on dialysis and in-center for 3.5 years, and it drained my body and my soul. And then my dad stepped forward, and I tell everybody he gave me life twice. We lived together very well until we didn't. Because of the anti-rejection meds, I went into the hospital one day and all of a sudden had a seizure out of nowhere. And they found that I had brain cancer. This was in February of 2020. I actually was at lunch for fundraising for the new building at UIC and was rushed to the hospital because my spleen had burst, and that's when they found the brain cancer. I was in the hospital from 2020, February through August. And they asked my husband and I, they said, we can save your life or we can save the kidney. Most normal people would have no problem making that decision, but having received a kidney as a selfish act from someone, I had to think twice about what I wanted. So we decided to save my life, obviously. And then my husband and my son decided to get tested. I told my son I didn't want him to do that because at the time he was at ISU, and I didn't want him to stop his college career. And I also felt that as parents, we are sent here to save our children and not have our children save us. My husband ended up donating his kidney to me in 2018. We've lived great and lived wonderfully until we didn't. Lupus is a horrible drug, a horrible illness, and typically when someone gets a kidney transplant, lupus goes into remission. I like to call myself the unicorn because if there's any chance of something, I am that person. So I find myself now back on dialysis. I, however, do home hemo, so I've turned my son's room into my dialysis room. And I do dialysis at home 4 days a week, 4 hours each time. But the good news is I'm here. So I ask that if you have any thought of helping a friend, a family member, or a perfect stranger return to their normal life and to their family, please consider becoming a live-in organ donor. They go on to live normal lives. My father is 79 and healthy. My cousin is healthy. My husband is healthy. Most organ donors leave the hospital within 48 hours. The surgery is minimally invasive. And you will give someone else a second chance at life and a third chance. All of my kidneys were named Faith. So I tell everyone I am here and was able to see my kids graduate college because of Faith. I wake up every morning because of Faith. Please register to become an organ donor.
Thank you, Kim, for your story. Thank you for your resilience. And thank you for your sacrifices. As you can see, these stories show us that organ and tissue donation impact, enhance, and literally save lives. Just a couple months ago, Bonnie Raitt received a Grammy Award for Song of the Year for the song Just Like That. She wrote the song after hearing a story about a mother who had chosen to donate her son's heart, and she was about to meet the heart's recipient, for the first time. We owe so much to those who made the decision to become organ donors. I want to say that if you've already registered as an organ donor, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The people behind me, thank you. If you have not, we hope you will consider that option and join the ranks of those who give the gift of life to people like those that are here with me today. Please, please be an organ and tissue donor. I am literally begging you. Becoming an organ or tissue donor is simple, and it takes less than 1 minute to sign up. The easiest way to make your intentions clear is when you renew your driver's license. You can also register with the Secretary of State's Organ Tissue Donor Registry by visiting lifegoeson.com or by calling 1-800-210-2106. Again, I want to thank those individuals that are here today who provide such a shining example for what it means to sacrifice for their loved ones and to tell their story.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.